Welcome. I just want to start by saying thank you for joining the training live. It's great to have people here live. And for those of you who are watching the video, all of you, thank you for joining this organization. It's an incredible organization. I've been here, I think, almost 5 years now. And it's just amazing what happens every semester when people like you help other people learn to communicate better. It's just affects all aspects of their life, of course, and then also for those who are parents, improves their lives as well. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that you're doing, and I thank you from the start for volunteering and serving the community in this way. So my name's Erica Reutzel-Bechtel. I'm the English Language Learning Specialist at Mid-State Literacy Council. Just for a little background, I grew up here in State College. I lived in several other places, including overseas. But I got my master's degree in teaching English as a second language here at Penn State. And I taught English at different language institutes in Boston and taught at Penn State many different levels as well. Welcome to all of you. I would love to take time to meet all of you, but we have a lot to get through. So let's just get started, and I hope to get to know you better over the course of your volunteer service with us. So Mid-State Literacy Council, who are we? We just recently celebrated our 50th anniversary. So Mid-State Literacy Council has been operating here in State College since 1971. We serve adult students only from both Center and Clearfield counties. Right now we have one full-time staff member, Amy, the director, as well as 3 part-time staff. And then what we rely on most of all is our incredible team of dedicated community volunteers. That's you and your other fellow volunteers. You are what make it all happen here. I think it's very important to know that we receive no government funding whatsoever. We're fully funded by local donations and grants. So to me, this represents the best of community members supporting community members. It's an incredibly powerful organization, helping a lot of people. So thank you for joining the team. Our mission statement is that our dream is that no one lacks literacy, so everyone can access a life of safety, realized goals, and community participation. And that's what you're going to contribute to. I love this photo of a mother in our basic English for Spanish-speaking students class. She brought her daughter along one time, and it just paints the picture of how you are helping these people. And I think it helps you imagine how much both of these lives are going to be enriched by the mother being able to communicate better with people in her life. So our main programs here are English as a second language and adult basic education. Let's start with English as a second language. As I said, Bridget and I coordinate the program. We try to incorporate health literacy into our English language learning program for all students, and I'll tell you more about that. We also have a vibrant adult basic education program, and that is coordinated by Amanda. I hope you get to meet Amanda. She works with students who are working on basic reading, writing, and math skills. Some of them are pursuing GEDs. And really where we're growing the most right now, in addition to English language learning, is helping people with computer and cell phone literacy, because it's just, as you all know, has become so much more important to have computer literacy skills. So there's a great need for that right now. And Amanda is helping with that. And we also operate a children's book drive. And it's just, we collect used books from community members, as well as purchase new books that people donate, and we distribute them to local low-income children so that we hope everyone in our community has books at home to read. Just to give you a sense of our size, we are growing dramatically in recent years. So to give you some of the concrete numbers there, between 2021 and 22, we had a little bit over 80 ESL students and just over 80 ESL volunteers. Now these numbers are even higher than what I have here. in the last year, we're up to probably at least 160 ESL students and over 100 volunteers in the span of a year. So we've doubled, which is incredible. It has brought some challenges to us, and we're working through them. But so far, we've been very fortunate to never struggle with finding volunteers. Sometimes we struggle in organizing everyone, but we have the people and we'll keep doing our best. Okay, so now let's zoom in on the English as a second language program. So when students come to us wanting to improve their English, the majority of them choose between these two options. Either way, they're paying $195 for 10 weeks of instruction for either a fall or a spring semester. It's a very, very low cost program. If you ever look around at English language learning programs, they can be extremely pricey. So this is a good deal. We do also offer scholarships for people who are struggling to pay the registration fee. We have scholarships available. If they register for classes, they can choose 3 ESL classes each semester, and each class meets 2 times per week. So it's a total of 6 lessons per week. So that's important for you to know if you're teaching a class, that your students are not only taking your class, they're taking 2 other classes. So I know sometimes volunteers have said, you know, I'm teaching reading and writing, but I really feel like we need more speaking practice. You will be speaking in a class, but also know that they're speaking in 2 other classes. So I just think that helps to be aware of that. The other option students have is to register for tutoring. And if that option involves 2 one-to-one tutoring sessions per week, and each one is an hour and a half. So you see they get 3 times as much instructional time with classes than in tutoring. There are advantages to each. In general, we recommend classes for people because there's so much more instructional time, but some people don't have that much time, or they aren't available when our classes are being held, or they also, if they have very specific learning needs, then sometimes we recommend tutoring instead. For example, if they're brand new beginners to the language, sometimes we'll try to get a bilingual tutor because we think that's the best way to learn as a new beginner. Or if they're very high level, you know, postdoc in chemistry, and they want to work on giving academic presentations in chemistry, our classes aren't really designed for that. So we might recommend a tutor for that kind of scenario. This gives you an overview of the structure of our core classes at Mid-State Literacy Council. So you can see we have 3 main levels: level 1 beginner, level 2 intermediate, and level 3 advanced. We also have a basic level that's not shown on this chart, but for our 3 main levels, 1, 2, and 3, students are offered 3 core classes. One is Everyday English, which uses a great textbook series called Future, and that class focuses on very practical, everyday English skills. And we have reading and writing and speaking and listening. Both of these core classes use the Reflect series, which is also a state-of-the-art, excellent instructional resource created by National Geographic. And these classes are more oriented towards conversation, discussion, reading about different topics that are universally of interest around the world. It's designed to help students with critical thinking skills and prepare them for academic life in the United States. But it's also, those topics and everything are of interest to anyone, whether they plan to pursue higher education or not. So what will you do at Mid-State Literacy Council? The 2 main volunteer roles are teacher and tutor. So if you teach a class, you will most likely be teaching in our office suite in one of our small classrooms, at Webster's Bookstore, or at St. Andrew's Church. Most of you will be in the office. When you teach a class, we will assign a book for you to use. I just went over the books that we assign to classes. So you and your students will all have a copy of that book. And we ask the students to return the books at the end of the semester. And we will provide class guidelines for 10 weeks of instruction. So we will basically tell you, if Bridget hasn't shown you this already, kind of which units, which pages of the textbooks that we want you to go over each time you meet. So it's a pretty prescribed program. And the reason for that is so we know when students are progressing from one level to the next level, that there is a progression in difficulty and you know, a predictable kind of sequence of material. We've been doing that for a couple of years now, and it's been working very well. If you tutor a student one-to-one, this will take place either in person or online. Actually, it's the same for teaching a class. We have some Zoom classes as well. But with tutoring, it's much more customizable. And so we are going to suggest materials, books and things like that, and instructional methods to you based on our understanding of the students' needs and goals and their English level. But you have a lot more flexibility and a lot of, you have the opportunity to create a customized learning plan for your particular student. So we don't prescribe a curriculum. We give you books and suggestions about how to interact with the person, but then you take it from there. And really, because that's the great advantage of tutoring, is that you can be very responsive to what you're seeing and to that individual. So if you teach a class, your students will be placed in the level according to their English proficiency based on what we know. And sometimes it's not right and we have to move people around, but we take our best, you know, informed guess about where they'll do best and we assign them to a level. What you need to be aware of is that no matter how much we try to put students together with the same, roughly the same English level, they are diverse in every way. They will be very diverse with their language abilities and with their goals, with their lives. And so that's why we want you to take advantage of the professionally designed and sequenced ESL textbooks, because we are confident that they will address the needs of all of the students, not perfectly, but effectively. Okay, so this is an example of the class guidelines that you will have if you're teaching a class. You certainly can't read all the details here, but I just want to draw your attention to make sure you're looking at the right level, level 1, beginner, level 2, level 3, the right class, everyday English. Make sure you're looking at the right semester, because they're different for the different semesters. And then you'll see how the plans are laid out for the 10 weeks, knowing you have 2 sessions per week, and we'll just point you to the unit and the lessons you should do each time. Okay, if you're tutoring an ASL student, as I said before, we provide broad recommendations about books and materials based on what we know about the student, as determined by a language assessment and an interview. So we meet with each new student for about an hour and a half and try to get to know about their lives a little bit, and give them a standardized language assessment, which assesses their listening comprehension, and we'll kind of summarize our findings and put it in a student report and share it with you. It's very similar to the student reports you read for this training. So we want you to take advantage of the opportunity to customize the content and pace of instruction.